Greetings and welcome. How's everybody doing? Welcome to, what is it today? The 31st of August, the last day of August. September starts tomorrow. And today's topic is going to be very, very juicy, guys. We're going to go over the connections between Aleister Crowley, Jack Parsons, and of course, L. Ron Hubbard and their connections to the military-industrial complex, and how this entire negative treaties with negative entities, also known as demonic forces, began in the early 1900s, and how it led to Project Bluebeam, eventually the development of the military-industrial complex, breakaway groups. So we're going to go deep today, guys. All right, so if you guys want to take notes, go ahead. I do like to read a day in an event that took place on this very day, on August 31st in the year 1980. Representatives of the communist government of Poland agreed to the demands of striking shipyard workers in the cities of... Oops. What's going on here? This is not supposed to go on. Sorry about that. First and foremost, can you guys hear me? Is the audio working? Can you guys hear me? No? Can I get a yes? Thumbs yes if you guys could hear me. I would assume you guys could hear me, so I'm just going to continue. Okay, so thank you for the background. Thank you for the compliment. Yes, I had my tech guy arrange everything. And from what I understand, I'm also broadcasting on my Facebook account. So that's kind of cool. All right, guys. So again, today in 1980, representatives of the communist government of Poland agreed to the demands of striking shipyard workers in the city of Kazark. Former electrician Lech Walaska led the striking workers, went on to form Solidary, the first independent labor union to develop in a Soviet bloc nation. All right, awesome. All right, so let's continue. Let's talk about today's topic. So loud and clear, right? Good to know. All right, so we're going to be unveiling the hidden connections again between Project Blue Book, Aleister Crowley, and the genesis of the military-industrial complex. So today we're going to explore the intricate web of historical events and esoteric practices that have shaped our understanding of negative extraterrestrials, also known as demons in the Bible, right? I've already made that distinction, that negative extraterrestrials correspond to the demonic forces of the holy text. Negative extraterrestrial encounters and the development of the military-industrial complex. So let's go deep. First and foremost, what is Project Bluebeam and its role in the UFO investigations? Well, it was a systematic study of unidentifying flying objects, UFOs, conducted by the United States Air Force from the year 1952 to the year 1969. The project's objectives were to determine whether UFOs were a threat to national security and to scientifically analyze UFO-related data. This topic explores the history, the findings, the controversies, and the legacies of Project Bluebeam and its connections to this coming deception that I should warn you guys about, known as the idea of having this alien savior event, which again is part of the New Age PsyOps. Okay, it's all kind of coming together here. So let's examine how this understanding shaped public perception of these, otherworldly encounters, and how it's ultimately influenced our government's policy regarding what is really out there. So, Project Bluebeam represents one of the most significant efforts by a government to investigate the phenomena of UFOs. This program, initiated by the U.S. Air Force in the year 1952, aimed to systematically collect, analyze, and determine the nature of UFO sightings across the United States. Throughout this 17-year period, Project Blue Book investigated over 12,000 reported sightings and incidents, despite the fact that Majestic 12 tried to debunk it as aerial balloons. Go figure, right? Despite also its closure in 1969, the project has continued to full speculation and a debate about the existence of extraterrestrial life forms. Some people, like the Collins group, believe that they are just demonic forces and that we shouldn't work with them. Other people believe that they are interdimensional beings from other realities. as opposed to beings that come from outer space. I mean, this debate could just go on for hours, but the whole point is that there is an intricate connection between the events that happened in the year 1918 with Aleister Crowley and the events that also happened in Germany in the year 1911 with Maria Orsic, all right, who was part of the Vril Secret Society. It was a worldwide orchestrated effort, but what I call the Negative Orion Syndicate, NAA, Negative Alien Agenda Syndicate, okay? So the origins of Project Bluebeam can be traceable back to technically the 1940s, okay? When they all of a sudden started seeing all these UFOs, well, I believe that there's an intricate connection between all these sightings and the portal that was opened by no other than Aleister Crowley. So this incident, along with the Roswell crash, sparked widespread public interest and concern in response to the growing number of sightings. All right, all of a sudden, after Aleister Crowley opened up a portal, there were massive sightings for years to come. Right, so. So another thing that took place in the year 1948, 1949 was they evaluated whether UFOs were a threat to national security or not. Apparently, many believe that they were probably developed by the Russians or the Chinese, and of course, we know that wasn't the case. Okay, so early assessments by Project Sign, another project that we are unaware of, included that some analysts suggested the possibility that these craft were indeed from other realms or other planets. So Project Grudge, which took place in 1949 and 1951, aimed to debunk UFO sightings and was characterized by skepticism and a dismissive approach. It conducted that most UFO sightings could be explained as misidentification, hoaxes, or psychological phenomena. So by the year 1952, increased UFO sightings, especially during the Washington, D.C. UFO incident, where multiple UFOs were detected by radar and visually sighted over the U.S. Capitol, led to the establishment of Project Blue Book. And for those that are aware of these, sightings that took place over the Capitol Hill in Washington, D.C., they were no other than UFOs that were developed by the Nazis that went to Antarctica. And then many people ask, well, why didn't the Nazis just take over us if they already had advanced alien technology? And the answer to that is because they didn't know how to weaponize their UFO crafts. They had UFOs before we did, but the Nazis just couldn't figure out how to weaponize them. And that is the reason why the Nazis didn't overtly just take over us in the year 1952. Anyways, all right, let's continue. So what are the objectives and methodology of Project Blue Book? So basically, Project Blue Book had two primary objectives, okay? To determine UFOs were either a threat to national security or to scientifically analyze UFO-related data. So the project employed a team of Air Force personnel, scientists, and investigators to collect and analyze UFOs reports from both military and civilian sources, right? The Benny Hill and Barney, not the Benny Hill, what is it called? The Barney situation. I think it was Betty Hill and Barney, sorry. That was one case, right? In terms of civilian sources. Sightings were classified based on their reliability, the credibility of their witnesses, and the presence of corroborative evidence such as radar data and photographs. Each case was then subjected to a rigorous investigation process, which involved interviews with witnesses, examinations of physical evidence, and analysis of environmental factors. So what were some of their findings and reports? Well, throughout this operation, Project Blue Book compiled an extensive database of UFO sightings. The project's findings were periodically released to the public through various reports. The most notable of these reports include the special report that was number 14 in the year 1955. The most comprehensive document produced Project Blue Book, analyzing over 3,200 UFO reports. This report concluded that most sightings could be attributed to conventional objects or phenomena. And this was assigned to, of course, Majestic 12, which was another military-industrial complex shadow government organization that was tasked with the ability, or was tasked with the aim of concealing the truth of UFOs, of course. So, however, 22% of the cases remained unidentified, meaning that they cannot explain by any known scientific or technological means, which means that they were not these, balloons, right? That they were actual real anti-gravity aircraft. So another report known as the Condon Report that was actually released in the year 1968 stated that a study conducted by the University of Colorado, led by physicist Edward Condon, to provide an independent assessment of the UFO phenomena. The report largely skeptically, of course, and largely conducted that further study of UFOs was unlikely to yield significant scientific discoveries and recommend the termination of Project Blue Book. Despite the findings, Project Blue Book did acknowledge a small percentage of cases that cannot be easily explained. These unknowns were often the most compelling, involving credible witnesses such as military personnel, pilots, and of course, law enforcement officers. So despite its controversial nature and closure in the year 1969, Project Blue Book has had a lasting impact on the field of ufology and public perception of extraterrestrials and its legacy, including public awareness. Project Blue Book played a crucial role in bringing UFO phenomena into the public consciousness, fostering a wave of interest in speculation that continues to this day. Government secrecy was therefore imposed, and of course, they termed those that were investigating the phenomena were classified as conspiracy theorists. Go figure. So the project's perceived secrecy and dismissive stance on UFO sightings contributed a growing belief in government cover-ups, and of course, the idea that they weren't real. Of course, that's what they want us to believe. It did have an influence in popular culture, apparently. The project's findings and controversies have inspired numerous books, documentaries, and films embedding UFOs in the fabric of popular culture. So, in recent years, there has been a resurgence of interest in UFO phenomena, leading to new government investigations such as the Pentagon's Advanced Aerospace Threat Identification Program, abbreviated as AATIP, and the establishment of Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, UAPs. So, overall, Project Blue Book represents a complex chapter in the history of course, UFO research and government transparency. While its official findings largely dismiss the notion of extraterrestrial visitation, the unresolved cases and controversies surrounding the project have ensured that UFO phenomena remained a subject of enduring intrigue and debate. The legacy of Project Blue Book continues to shape our understanding of the unknown and challenges us to question the boundaries of course, our scientific establishment and governmental knowledge. So as the new evidence and investigations do come to light, the question raised by Project Blue Book remains relevant today as they were decades ago, compelling us to remain open-minded and vigilant for the quest of truth. So let's talk about its connections to, of course, Aleister Crowley's occult practices, specifically utilizing an ancient technique that can be traceable to Babylon, known as Alamantra and Babylonian rituals that allegedly, or let's just say not allegedly, but that reportedly opened up a portal to other realms. Okay, so we're going to be talking about that. We're also going to be discussing the summoning of the first ET that led to a horde of extraterrestrials that have been working with the shadow government since Aleister Crowley, who, by the way, was working with a global network that connected to the Vril Society, Maria Orsic, and so on and so forth, and its influence on world affairs. Okay, so we're also going to make the connection between these esoteric events and the rise of the secret space program, including the interplanetary corporate conglomerate. So we're also going to talk about the parallel developments by the Vril Society in Germany and their contact with the Aldebarans, which is a negative branch of blondes, a blonde hair and blue eye, tall Nordics. We're also going to talk about the influence of Crowley's students, such as Jack Parsons, who apparently blew himself up in one of his laboratories. I don't know if you guys heard about that. And of course, the Satanist himself, L. Ron Hubbard, in shaping modern landscape of space exploration and the New Age religious movements, and how this ultimately ties to the ancient astronaut theory and its role in shaping contemporary beliefs and potential deceptions. Now, the reason I call L. Ron Hubbard a Satanist is because there is an intricate correlation between the Church of Scientology and the Church of Satan that was established by Anton LaVey. If you guys research or investigate the Church of Satan, this was part of my research. I had to investigate many things. Okay, there is a very almost term by term implications and principles that are so similar to Scientology. And the Church of Satan in San Francisco was started by Anton LaVey. It is believed that Anton LaVey and L. Ron Hubbard were actually close. Many think that L. Ron Hubbard was his master or his teacher, and that's why he started the Church of Satan. Okay, and they even have a Satan Bible in the Church of Anton LaVey. So that's why I call L. Ron Hubbard a Satanist. Some of you might argue with that, but all you have to do is read his theory on Dianetics. It's totally satanic. All right, so apparently Project Blue Book. Let's go into Aleister Crowley, okay? And the Alamantrian workings, which is an ancient Babylonian ritual that dark cabal families that are associated with Luciferian networks have always implemented in their invocation of negative entities. We see this with Elizabeth I, right? She had a magician that used to always advise her on things, known by the name of John Dee. John Dee was also just like Aleister Crowley, all right? They were all part of the same Luciferian networks that could be traceable back to Babylon. So who was Aleister Crowley? Apparently he was a notorious occultist who was working within a greater network. Let me repeat that again, guys. Within a greater network that connected the Black Magician Society worldwide in the early 20th century, conducting rituals known as the Alamantria workings and the Babylonian practices. These rituals were said to involve black magic, and many believe that there is a fine line between black magic and, of course, reptilian draconian technology. And I do believe that there is. Crowley apparently summoned an entity by the name of Lam, L-A-M. And if you spell Lam backwards, which is the abbreviation, the beginning abbreviation of Mal, malevolent, there is no coincidence, a being with an appearance similar to the modern day depiction of a gray extraterrestrial. So what is the Alamantria workings? Well, this is a series of rituals performed by Crowley. I believe it started in the year 1908 or 1906, but he perfected it and became successful at it in the year 1918, which apparently he used to open up a portal, ripping into the fabric of space and time, allowing this gray entity by the name of Lan to come in, and of course, potentially other entities. Eventually, they did come in because this corresponds to the mass sightings and all the crashes that took place in the 1940s and the 1950s, when you guys really think about it, into our world. And what is the Babylonian practice? Well, again, this goes back to Nimrod. This goes back to the ancient Luciferian Babylonian networks, which is where we could actually trace the rituals and the black magic and sorcery as practiced by the Cabal families back to ancient Babylon. So what is the Babylonian practice? Well, Crowley drew upon ancient Babylonian rituals. Again, guys, these secret societies have always had access to these occultic mystery school teachings that are very dark, right? That involves the invocation of entities and basically demonic forces from the lower astral realm, which is what we would call hell, right? The lower astral realm is where all the archon and demonic entities reside, which he believed, Aleister Crowley, could provide him with supernatural powers and knowledge. So the meeting with Lamb laid the foundation, of course, in later times, um, of the military-industrial complex. So this entity Lamb is often associated with the origins of the military-industrial complex due to the timing of its summoning and the subsequent rise of UFO sightings and crashes in the 1940s and in the 1950s. It is theorized that Lamb and similar entities played a role in guiding human technology, particularly in the field of aerospace and defense, leading to the formation of secret space programs and collaboration involving the elites of the world. So it is only more apparent now that the UFO crashes in the year 1940s and 1950s, the increased sightings and crashes, including the infamous Roswell incident, are believed to be directly linked to the portal that was opened by Aleister Crowley in 1918. So this led, unbeknownst to the general public, to the development of the second breakaway group, the first one being, of course, the Dark Fleet, which was initiated by the Nazis. But the second breakaway group, known as the ICC, otherwise known as the Interplanetary Corporate Conglomerate, which is a secret space program developed by the US Air Force, which was already under the full control of the military-industrial complex, who in turn was under the full control of the Greys of Lamb, of course, entities that were led into our realm by Aleister Crowley. With private aerospace companies like Lockheed Martin, Boeing companies, what is it called? Jet Proportions in Pasadena, which was headed by Jack Parsons, who was another student, of course, of Aleister Crowley, and all who have believed to apparently reverse engineered a lot of this extraterrestrial aircraft. So that was the beginning, guys. Those were the beginning stages of these extraterrestrial or anti-gravity aircraft before they actually started collaborating with negative groups from the Orion Syndicate. So let's go back to the Vril Society and the Aldebarans, which is a negative ET race, blonde hair and blue eyes, right? They look very human-like. That actually also during the same times that Aleister Crowley was conducting his rituals, they were also doing their own thing in Germany. So there is obviously a parallel development occurring in Germany with the Vril Society, which was the inner, you could say an inner occult that existed within the Thule Society. This was like the core, the secret of all secret societies in Germany. And of course, they've always been invested in esoteric and occultic knowledge. So contact with the Aldebarans, by Maria Orsic and her inner group of occultists was also happening right around the same time that Aleister Crowley opened up the portal to the Lamb. So members of the Vril Society, including prominent figures of the Nazi regime, claim to have established contact with the Aldebarans, which is a Nordic race of extraterrestrials that apparently were in service to self-oriented mentality, and apparently working with the reptilian race of the Draco star system. Am I going too fast, guys? Yes, no? Should I slow down? Okay, so I will slow down a little bit, but there is more to cover here because a lot of this is all leading to a New Age deception, fostering this idea of an alien God savior, guys, which again takes away responsibility, accountability from us doing the spiritual work and giving it over or giving our power over to an external force. So this is where it's all leading to, all right? So that's why I'm doing this presentation for you guys today so that you guys could understand that this is part of the negative Luciferian agenda. How are you guys doing today? I hope you guys are doing great. Yeah, I'm trying out a new thing, guys. I'm actually broadcasting through a Restream so that I could, project this video on all these different platforms. So I hope it's working, by the way. I really do. Okay, so let's continue. So now since the Greys, so we do know that the Greys have always been the working force, right, or the puppets working under the direction of the Draco reptilians, who are, by the way, the demons in the Bible. It is only more obvious now that the entity that Aleister Crowley invoked was working for the Orion Empire Syndicate Group, orchestrating a worldwide agenda. In order to bring in what they call the Fourth Reich, which is associated with this idea of an alien savior, all right, in this NWO type of establishment, which of course we know it's not going to happen, right? Due to the fact that the forces of light have canceled out the NWO agenda. So these beings allegedly provide blueprints for advanced technologies, including flying saucer designs and anti-gravity propulsion systems to the Luciferian secret societies. So following the Second World War, it is believed that the secret societies and knowledge from the Vril Society were integrated into the development of military-industrial complex that became a front to the interplanetary corporate conglomerate, further advancing the secret space program initiated by the U.S. corporation, not the U.S. Republic, but the U.S. corporation. So two more figures that were instrumental in the Great Deception and the breakaway group known as the ICC were also Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard. Jack Parsons, I'm sorry. So Aleister Crowley's influence extended beyond his lifetime through his prominent students who continued his work, who played significant roles in shaping modern science and belief systems. So who was Jack Parsons? Well, he was a pioneering rocket scientist and the founder of Jet Propulsion Laboratories, JPL, who was heavily influenced by Crowley's teachings. His work in rocketry and propulsion was crucial in the early development of the U.S. space program, which later became entwined with the military-industrial complex. L. Ron Hubbard, another of Crowley's followers, Hubbard went on to found the Church of Scientology, a religion based on the idea that an extraterrestrial by the name of Xano, they just changed their names, guys, might have created the human race. Okay, that's the indicator that Scientology is Luciferian and satanic, right there. All right, so this belief aligns well with Crowley's teachings and the broader narrative of negative extraterrestrial involvement in human affairs. So how does this tie into this alien savior agenda and its connections to the ancient astronaut theory? Well, the ancient astronaut theory, popularized by authors like Eric von Daniken, suggests that extraterrestrials have been visiting Earth for a millennium and have played a crucial role in the development of human civilization. Of course, after you guys have gotten familiar with my work, we do know that human beings have been here for millions of years and we're not the direct creation of extraterrestrials. Well, at least not the Anunnaki, of course. Our kind developed and originated in the Lyra system. Okay, so technically, this is where I believe that there needs to be more information. That's where my book comes in. For those that haven't read our Cosmic Origin, guys, that book explains beyond this, okay? So anyways, the theory is often cited as part of a broader narrative that may serve as a great deception, preparing humanity for a future where extraterrestrial beings are presented as saviors or gods. And of course, we know that that's not the case. We know that we, the starseeds, are the returned angels in human form, right? And we might have to do battle against these evil entities. But what we do know is that at the end of the millennium, there will be one final clash. Now, let's talk about this great deception, right, that is being developed in the New Age community. Many believe that the groundwork led by Crowley, his students, Jack Parsons and L. Ron Hubbard, who, again, was the mentor of Anton LaVey, who founded the Church of Satan, and the proponents of the ancient astronaut theory are all part of the same deception and is paving the way for a global deception involving the return of an alien god. Again, shifting the concept of God within to an external entity, okay? This is just another religion, my friends. This deception could involve presenting extraterrestrials beings as divine entities or saviors, manipulating humanity's beliefs and spiritual understanding. So apparently, this is a web of intrigue and deception of grand proportion, right? Because a lot of people in this community are believing in this idea that the Anunnaki were our creators and therefore they will return so that we could worship them. Okay. There was one particular person that I called out. I'm not going to mention her name. She's got a whole team of people that she deceived who I believe are now all being compromised by her. And she is the emissary of Enki. That's all I'm going to say, who is here to deceive us and making us believe that he was our creator. And this all ties in with this, with what Aleister Crowley did, while continued by L. Ron Hubbard, and then of course as proposed by Eric von Däniken and the idea of the ancient astronaut theory. It's all tying into this alien savior event, which we are not going to fall for, of course, because we know that we are our own savior and that God is within us, right? We are what they are all expecting. It's not coming from above anymore, guys. It's going to be realized and born from within us as we become activated. So the connections between Aleister Crowley, his occult practices, Project Blue Book, and the rise of the military-industrial complex suggest a complex and hidden narrative that has been influencing what we call the negative agenda through the globalization programs of today. These events that began with rituals and secret space programs have woven together to form a tapestry that continues to influence all the malevolent things that are actually happening in our planet today. So as we navigate the unfolding revelations and potential deceptions of our time, it is crucial to remain vigilant and critically assess the narratives being presented to us. The intertwining of ancient practices, secret space program, and modern technological advancements may be more than mere coincidences. It may be a carefully orchestrated path leading humanity towards a predetermined outcome. By understanding these connections, we can better prepare ourselves for the possible outcome and the wary of the potential deceptions that may lie ahead. So let's talk about how all this kind of intertwines, right? And it's interwoven with this concept of an alien savior. That's why I don't believe the ancient Sumerian tablets as is. I question them, right? Enki did not create us, because by creating us imposes the fact that he is our God, and he is not our God. Enki just tampered with an already created angelic race. How's that? For those that are familiar with my work, okay? So the concept of extraterrestrial life has fascinated humanity for centuries. In recent decades, this fascination has given rise to various theories and narratives about the existence and intentions of alien beings. Among these narratives, the alien savior agenda has gained traction in certain circles, positing that advanced extraterrestrial civilizations are poised to intervene in Earth's affairs to save humanity from itself. While this narrative might seem enticing, it carries significant dangers that need to be critically examined. So let's explore the potential risk associated with this New Age alien savior agenda, highlighting how it could undermine human agency and free will, and most importantly, Galactic Jedi's, diverting the fact from the God within to, again, an external savior. We don't want another religion, okay? So undermining human agency and responsibility. The alien savior agenda promotes the idea that extraterrestrial beings will intervene to solve humanity's problem, and that is not the case, at least not the allies of humanity or the positive extraterrestrials known as the Galactic Alliance, right? They have protocols to abide by, such as the Prime Directive. So they will never intervene openly, right? The only way the forces of light, or may I say the higher ups, intervened was by incarnating into human form. And that began in the 40s and 50s. And here we are, right? That's the only way. We can only intervene by infiltrating the system or the matrix from within. Okay, so Um, the alien savior agenda promotes the idea that extraterrestrial beings will intervene to solve humanity's problems, whether they be environmental crisis, social injustices, or global conflicts. This narrative can lead to a dangerous abdication of responsibility, where humans become passive recipients of salvation rather than active agents of change. By relying on external forces, which is again the same theme, right, that was executed by organized religions, by addressing to address our challenges, we risk let me receive that again. We risk neglecting our duty to engage in meaningful actions to solve our problems, right? We can't depend on others to solve our problems. We have to do it ourselves. We have to do the work within ourselves, right? If you guys want to change the world, look in the mirror, change the person within, and therefore the world will become a reflection of you. So the belief in an alien intervention can create a psychological dependency where individuals or group places their hopes and efforts on a future event that may never occur. This mindset can deter people from participating in essential activities such as political engagement, community organization, or environmental conservation, as they may believe these efforts are futile, in light of impending extraterrestrial rescue. Another issue is fostering dependency and disempowerment. Fostering dependency, again, on something outside of herself, which in turn disempowers us. So, relying on extraterrestrial saviors can lead to a form of spiritual and psychological disempowerment. Instead of fostering a sense of personal and collective empowerment, the alien savior agenda encourages passivity and helplessness. When people believe that their salvation lies in the hands of advanced alien civilizations, they may become less inclined to develop their own capacities and their own potentials, both individually and as a society. This dependency can be particularly dangerous in times of crisis, in moments when swift, and decisive actions is required. Those waiting for extraterrestrial intervention may delay necessary responses, exacerbating existing problems. The belief in a benevolent extraterrestrial force is different, however, because the benevolent extraterrestrial forces will never intervene openly or establish some sort of God complex mentality where they are above us. In fact, the benevolent extraterrestrial forces want us to realize our own Christ within, our own greatness, so that we could evolve like they did to a higher state of spiritual awareness and become like the Christ, like they have. They have reached the level of Christ consciousness, right? That's the difference between a benevolent extraterrestrials and, of course, the negative extraterrestrials. The negative extraterrestrials always want to disempower us and take our powers, our own power from within, to give it to an external force, while the positive extraterrestrials want to empower us and see us as equals. Let me repeat that again, guys. Positive, benevolent extraterrestrials always want to empower us so that we become our own savior, and they also see us as equals, okay? Negative extraterrestrials want to do the opposite of that. Okay, I just want to make that clear. So is there a potential threat for manipulation and control? Yes, and there has been, okay? There has been. This alien savior agenda is not just a harmless belief. It has the potential to be exploited by various actors for manipulation and control. For instance, throughout history, the promise of salvation, whether from divine beings, messianic figures, or advanced civilization, has been used as a tool to manipulate the masses. All right. For example, the Luciferian Anunnaki, which were left behind. Unfortunately, the angelic positive Anunnaki, Zeus, and those that were Pleiadian, Lyre, and Syrian, had to leave the scene to go fight the war against the AI god. So apparently, and then unfortunately, our world was left in the hands of the negative Anunnaki, the children of Enki, Marduk, Thoth, and so on. So we could say that they were the ones that created all the organized religions, okay? And they know that now religion is in decline. So what are they doing? They are just modifying the agenda. So instead of waiting for Jesus to return, now we're going to be waiting for the Enki Anunnaki to return, right? That's the only difference, guys. So this is where it's all leading. This whole concept, this deception of this alien savior agenda is all leading to the return of the negative Anunnaki, right? So that we can worship them. All right, so this narrative of an alien savior could be very similar and co-opted by those seeking power and control. Okay, and that, my friends, concludes today's message. So I am now going to open up the chat for Q&A. If you guys could please type your questions in capital letters, that would be greatly appreciated. I do want to shout out to some of you guys. I see Richard Gager in the house, Cosmic Cave, Conspiratary is in the house, Wolf Mother is in the house, Digital Revolution, Joanna is in the house, Constantly 77 is in the house, Jill Hunt is in the house, Mathis Chronicles is in the house, Iana 11 is in the house, Sylvia Vidal is in the house, and who else is in the house? Digital Revolution is in the house. Diana 77 is in the house. Lee Star is in the house. And everyone else that is in the house, almost 1,000 people that are in the house. I'm drinking tea, for those that are wondering what I'm drinking. If you guys don't mind, since I am using this new Restream, I want to see if I am broadcasting on Facebook as I'm supposed to. Let me go ahead and check if you guys don't mind. Oh, look, it does say I'm live. Oh, nice. I want to see if I am broadcasting on Facebook. Look at that, guys. I am live. As I'm supposed to. Let me go ahead and check if you guys don't mind. Why is there no comments on here? It does say I'm live. Yeah, look. I'm broadcasting on Facebook. That's pretty cool. Why is there no comments on it? Where is there a live chat here? All right. Anyways, I am broadcasting on Facebook. I just don't see the live chat here. So maybe the live chat is actually here on my screen. Who knows? But I'm going to go ahead and take some Q&A, guys. Oh, this is a good one. Let me rewind. One second. I found a really good question that I think you guys all want to know about. Okay, so hi Ishmael, is there any truth to H.P. Lovecraft stories and creatures of Shalu Azathoth? Yes. In fact, H.P. Lovecraft was also part of that Black Magician network that was actually influenced by Aleister Crowley. So yeah, all that stuff is part of the negative agenda, which is actually all been initiated by Greys and reptilians and negative aliens, which are under the classification of demonics. Okay, demonics. So this is another good question from Siska Mosquita. Is the Christ consciousness grid a diamond grid or a dodecahedron grid? That is a very good question. I believe it's both. I believe that the dodecahedron, which is shaped in the form of a dodecahedron, will be working with, or is going to somehow, okay, so it's called the double diamond grid, but it is being resonated through a dodecahedron, because geometry creates form, frequency creates geometry. So the Christ consciousness is a frequency that is going to catapult mankind into fifth dimensional consciousness, which is service to others, seeing everything as one, right? Us in tune with nature, in tune with one another. So that's what that means. So yeah, there is a correspondence between the dodecahedron and the activation of what is known as the Christ grid on this planet. Absolutely. This is another good question. Who was Samuel? Was he Enki or Amun? Well, first of all, Amun Ra was no other than Marduk Belial, the son of Enki, under a new name when he took over the affairs of Egypt. And then, of course, later he called himself Set. So, same character, guys. But to answer your question, yeah, Samuel was also known as Enki Poseidon. Enki Poseidon was known as Samuel. Samuel Enki Poseidon. So yeah, to answer your question, same entity, different names. Yes, yes. Apparently, Keanu Reeves and Jim Carrey are of the light. Absolutely, they are exposing the darkness within Hollywood. This is a question from Faye Gwynn. Will J.D. Vance resign and JFK Jr. be VIP? The answer to that is absolutely yes. I don't know. Somebody's asking or saying that there's some trolls in the house. Again, last week I went ahead and I unblocked all kinds of people, so maybe I should have just had more discernment. But if there's people trash talking on this live, there's nothing I can do, guys. Let's just ignore them. Space arcs are Arcturian and ancient advanced extraterrestrial craft from positive benevolent ETs. All my social media accounts are under the real Ishmael Perez, Facebook, Instagram, you name it. Yeah, because I have a lot of fake accounts that are DMing people saying I want to give you a personal rating, and that's not me, guys. I never DM people on any account. What is the Galactic Alliance? The Galactic Alliance is the reorganization of the Galactic Federation that took place in 2022 when Enki returned to our solar system. And so they are the good guys that decided to not follow in the footsteps of Enki. So that's who they are. They are a team, where you could say collaboration of many advanced civilizations of a Type 1 interplanetary system to a Type 2 star system that are teaming up here in our solar system to help the Earth Alliance overthrow the Cabal and, of course, the NWO. That's who the Galactic Alliance is. Venusia is asking the portal that Aleister Crowley opened, is it still open? The answer to that is no. They initially closed it, but that's why they created CERN. Many years later, in order to reopen it. So yeah, they closed it. They were able to close it with the help of positive extraterrestrials. And this is where Eisenhower and the positive programs and Valiant Thor come into the picture. They were the ones that closed the portal, but it was open for about 20 years, it's believed. After they closed it, then the dark T-shirts decided to create the Large Hadron Collider in the 1990s, I believe, in order to reopen more portals. and among, also throwing us into alternative Earth timelines and so on and so forth. But that's another subject. CERN. Again, guys, last week when I went to when I went to unblock Mathis Chronicles, I was blocking all kinds of people. So if we do have some trolls, just ignore them. And really, they're not trolls, all right? Just because they disagree with me or they think I'm bad, that's their opinion of me, all right? So I don't. It doesn't really face me, Who cares? All right. So let's see. Will the solar flash create new friendships? This is a question from Ron. God, I just lost it. The chat is going so fast, my friends. You guys are just typing at miles an hour. From what I remember, he wants to know if the solar flash is going to bring people together, and the answer to that is yes. There will be some sort of a, reunion of advanced souls, right? The star people are going to all reunite worldwide. It's going to be beautiful, guys. We're all going to come together as one. Are we central suns? Well, we are micro versions of central suns. That's right. We do have a chakra system, just like everything. Like the planet has chakra systems. The planet has a central sun at the core of the Earth. The galaxy has a central sun at the core of the Earth. So, in that regard, our central sun is the heart. It is the heart. Will we need to keep working 8 hours a day? Absolutely not. No, this idea of working all day, guys, was imposed by the Babylonian system of control and fascism. That's all coming to an end. No, we're technically only supposed to work 2 to 3 hours a day and have the rest of the time for leisure, personal development, engaging in your hobbies, and just relaxing. Okay, meditating, being in nature, and so on and so forth. The reason being is because really advanced, positive civilizations, they don't work like we do. They don't even have money. They don't. To them, money doesn't exist. All they do is they use their talents and their gifts to contribute to the greater whole, and they only do it 2 to 3 hours a day, and the rest of the time they are doing whatever they want. But of course, as long as it benefits the whole. Yes, we are. Silva Vidal wants to know, Ishmael, are we already aging younger? I believe we are. I believe that since 2012, new strands of DNA have been developed. So some of us are already using 3 strands of DNA. Other of us are using 4 strands of DNA, 5. The goal is to activate 12, of course. So yes, we could say that the fact that we are beginning to tap into our crystalline genetic structure, we are not aging anymore, guys. We are not aging. The process has reversed. The process has reversed. So don't go getting plastic surgery. Don't go injecting Botox. That's actually bad for you guys. Make sure that you just stay in the present. God, the chat is going so fast. I do have a super chat from Stuart Williams. I want to thank you, brother, for that super chat. And he says, who is Sit, and did he have anything to do with Noah? Sit or Seth? I think you're referring to Seth. Seth was the great grandfather of Noah, I believe. Yes, Noah comes from the line of Seth. I think that's what you meant to say, Seth. So Seth is of the lineage of Adam. Adam was the established bloodline of God here on earth. Of course, we know that Yaldabaoth Enki tried to corrupt that, right? The master geneticist. But, he failed. He failed, right? There was a strain that was left uncorrupted, right? Untampered with. And that was the strain that led to Abraham, Jacob, the 12 tribes, and so on and so forth. Thank you so much, Stuart Williams, for that wonderful donation, by the way. Yes, if you guys are new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and share. That will help my channel grow, and I would appreciate that. There will be no more attempts on 45, 46, soon to be 47. His fate is sealed. He is meant to become the last president, and he will be instrumental, along with Xi Jinping, I think I'm saying it right, and Putin, in their overthrow of the NWO. I don't know how it happened. I think it was my tech guy who um, created some sort of a moderator, but I think it was a bot. So if there are trolls again, guys, let's just send them love. We love you, even if you hate us. We are just not going to care. We want to give you love back. All right. Maybe you guys were wounded as children. Maybe you guys had mom issues, dad issues, something happened in your life that you're still not forgiving, and so you just take it out on the world. It's okay, because this channel is for everybody. We are one human family, and there is no need to even call you guys trolls. Okay, so I'm talking about the guys that are talking smack on the chat right here about me. Not the Galactic Jedis, of course. You guys are the most awakened people of the planet. You guys are my family of light. Let's see. Oh, I have another super chat. Okay. Let's see. I have another super chat. In September, is your September classes going to be only $100 for the weekend? Yes. New announcement, guys. Our Cosmic Origin class, which consists of 4 weeks of in-depth information about everything, the multiverse, dimensions, advanced civilizations, cosmic structures, you name it, is only going to be $100, okay, for 1 hour a week. And that is going to be coming up this September. Absolutely. And so I can get the Ascension Basics and the Cosmic Origin class for only 200. That is correct. Yes. Only for the weekend. Yes, that's only going to be for the weekend, guys. All right. So I'm going to have a really good deal this September. $100 for our Cosmic Origin class, 1 hour a week. And so what am I saying? Get the Ascension Basics. And if you also get the Ascension Basics, so if you guys get both, it's going to be only $200, $100 each. And I'm only going to do that for the month of September. That's it. So thank you so much, Tristan, for reminding me of that. You must have checked out my website already. So if you guys want to sign up for this super superb deal, for $200, you're going to get both classes, our Cosmic Origin, 1 hour a week, and Ascension Basics, 1 hour a week. Go to my website or cosmicorigin.com and secure your spot soon. Let's see. All right, so let's continue. Can I speak on the central sun beings? Well, okay, so for those that don't know, the beings that exist at the central sun, both within the inner Earth and at the center of our galaxy, are actually cosmic entities, right? Because the civilizations that exist within the central sun correspond to harmonic universe number 4, which is dimensions 10, 11, and 12. And there is scientific evidence that our galaxy does exist in 11 dimensions. And guess where the 11th dimension is? At the center of our galaxy, corresponding to beings that exist in dimensions 10, 11, and 12. And they are part of a universal society. They are what we call the creator gods and goddesses of the universes. So there are meetings and all kinds of interactions that take place at the center sun of our galaxy and at the center sun of our universe by these beings that exist in dimensions 10, 11, and 12. And if you guys don't know what a type 1 civilization is, type 2, all the way to type 5, and its relationship to the 5 harmonic universe, the densities, the RNA, DNA strand usage, then again, you're going to get all of that information in detail in our Cosmic Origin in September. As I read some of your chat, you guys are so humorous. So with the ET's land before the flash, no. Again, guys, positive, benevolent ETs don't interfere openly. They don't come from the sky. Okay, they do it internally by positively influencing us, right? By working with us through our dreams, by contacting us, by working from within. They don't just appear and land. Okay, that's something that the negative ETs do. So when the solar flash takes place, when our dormant DNA becomes activated, we are going to be operating in the fourth or fifth and sixth dimensional level reality, allowing us to interact with the interstellar and galactic communities. So basically what's going to be happening is as we become upgraded, these other positive ETs are already going to be there because they exist all around us. See, these interstellar galactic civilizations are all around us, but in a different dimension. All we're going to be doing is moving up in dimension so that we can interact with them. That's it. That's all we're going to be doing. Okay. So no, they're not going to land. All right. It's just that the veil is going to be lifted when our DNA activates, and boom, they're already going to be there. And yes, we are going to have a cosmic interplanetary jubilee. I get a lot of repetitive questions. Are the Y-hats on schedule? Yes, they are. Because ultimately the Y-hats and the Galactic Alliance work under God with a capital G. So everything in God's timing. So yes, they are on schedule. I see a super chat from Sylvia Vidal. She's asking, at what rate we aging younger? Is it faster than aging old? As we begin to activate more strands, as we get closer to that big flash, yes, all of a sudden we're just going to regenerate back to looking 30, as I mentioned years ago when I first started doing interviews. So the answer to that is yes. The Russians are also doing a lot of work to monitor Gaia's magnetic field, and the answer to that is yes. Well, they are part of the alliance, by the way, guys. So let's see. No, we are not bait for bringing in the dark ones here for the ending in a flash. No, the flash is what's going to trigger the activation of the Christ mind in the people that have done the work, that have cleared all the trauma. 45, 46, soon to be 47 is already an ambassador. He's our political ambassador. Sandra, to answer your question. The chat is going super fast. It's hard to read, guys. It just. Where's the difference between incarnation and reincarnation? Well, incarnation is, I guess they're kind of one and the same. One is coming into a physical avatar, a vessel, right? Spirit coming down into a vessel. Reincarnation is the reincarnating of the reincarnation of the same spirit into new vessels and new vessels. That's the difference. Yes, I believe XRP and XLM is connected to Starlink. Absolutely. What are my tattoos? Somebody wants to know. C. Archiosa. All right, if you guys really want to know about my tattoos, when I was a kid, I was into punk rock, and so I got some punk rockish tattoos. Right, I got an anarchy, which means no government. Well, back then to me it was like equality and freedom, anti-establishment. Again, I had a youthful, rebellious, you know, in my youth I was a rebellious youth rather. This is Oi, a group of punk bands I used to listen to, and then a guy smoking a cartoon character. And I just realized I bruised myself at the gym today lifting weights. Here I have a spider web, and to me, at the center is indicative of how everything's connected in the universe as one. We're all connected to the center of the central sun. And you guys, some of you guys might not even, I don't even know if I should even show this one, but on my forearm, I have FUCK authority. I'm not going to spell it out. FUCK authority, which was a statement by one of my favorite punk band. I can't even say punk rock bands known as Pennywise. God, how can I forget about Pennywise? Well, anyways, they released. I believe it was an album called FUCK Authority. And so I ended up getting that on my forearm. Okay. So yeah, I shared my tattoos with you guys. But even my journey as a rebellious youth is what led me to read thousands of books and begin my journey in uncovering, secrets, lies, deceptions, the truth about things, and so on and so forth. What are the second coming? We are the second coming. That's right. We are as a collective. All the volunteers. Hey Ishmael, Norm said to come to your channel. Glad I caught your live. Says love BN Nubian. Welcome to my channel. If you guys are new, don't forget to subscribe. um, uh, Somebody asked me if I'm going to remove my tattoos. No, because they're a big part of who I am today, guys. It's a reminder of my rebellious youth. If it wasn't for my rebellious youth, I would have never been able to write those books, The Secret Government and Our Cosmic Origin. Do you know about TLS, the light system? No, I've never, I mean, I've heard of them, but um, honestly, guys, I would have discernment about that. All right. They're not known as anything other than the Earth Alliance. That's what they're known as. Those are the good guys that have been fighting the cabal, that have been rescuing the little ones from the underground dumps. If anybody tells you that they're called differently, I don't see it. I don't see it. I that's my opinion. I don't see it. All right. Let's see. I have another super chat from Nature Boy. Ishmael, it seems religious people are becoming more aggressive lately toward people who are not religious. Can you explain why? Um, well, that probably has to do with the idea that religion, organized religion, is in decline and spirituality is on the rise. So, as the old system collapses, as the 3D matrix collapses, which was again um, you could say, projected by organized religion, right? Our beliefs create our reality. People are becoming, they're becoming sour. They're becoming angrier because they're just not. They're realizing that their religious organization, that these establishments are not really what they are, and many people are coming to that realization that they are not what they really are, what they claim to be, rather. So that explains why they're rebelling, not rebelling, but being cold, being mean, you could say. And also think about it fundamentally. The Christ consciousness is activating. So as the Christ consciousness grid becomes more activated, a lot of these people that are part of these religious pockets or these, orthodox, you could say, establishments are going to feel some sort of contrast between the truth and the deception that they've been under. Hopefully that makes a lot of sense. So it could be multiple things. Nature Boy. Let's see. I'm looking for questions that are questions that a lot of people have for the most part. Wolf Mother says, "Love your tattoos, Ishmael." Thanks. Yeah, what you guys are hearing in the background is my dog. I apologize for that, guys. I know it's sometimes she just gets a little loud when she's around here. Ishmael, how do you get so good at not taking things personal? Um, well, I've always been, you could say I've always been picked on. I've always been kind of like the black sheep. Um, so I've learned over the years as a kid, as a teenager, to just not allow things to affect me, you could say. So nowadays, if people say bad things about me or they try to get to me, I just ignore them and I see it as a reflection of their own inner struggle. So that's the best way to describe it. Yeah, and at the same time, I bless them, I pray for them, and I say, may they, overcome that as well. So yeah, that's why I don't take things personal because it's really not me, it's them. You know what I mean? Thank you so much, CRCR, for that super chat. My glasses are in my car. The thing about it is that I need my glasses to drive. So because I always need to wear my glasses when I'm driving, chances are that they're always going to be in the car, unless I get two pairs, one for the car, one for the lives. But I'm going to take maybe a couple more questions, guys. Um, what will happen to the descendants of Cain? So you are referring to the Cabal families. Basically, um, they are going to be taken out in a sense where their individuality, their consciousness, their soul essence is going to be transmuted and destroyed and recycled back into the eternal fire. So they're going to lose. They're going to be undergoing what I call spiritual death. See, there are two types of deaths. There is the physical death, which is the body dying, and then there's the spiritual death, which is when your soul essence becomes extinct. And that's what happened to the bad guys when they failed to change. One more question, guys. Oh, there she is. Say hi, Athena. Athena, why were you making all that racket and noise? I'm just kidding. You're good. I will address the super chat from Fabio. Thank you so much, Fabio. Your question is, when will we have EBS? Okay, that's the first question. And will the solar flare be this year? Thank you, Ishmael, for sharing such much knowledge. God bless you. All right, so the EBS is going to, they do have a deadline, all right, which corresponds with the ending of the Mayan calendar. So even though it could happen any day now, they're saying November. Remember the 5th of November. And if you guys haven't seen that movie, V for Vendetta, that is a depiction of the 17th letter in the alphabet. That's all I'm going to say. Let's see, what else? The solar flare. Well, we are expecting to reach solar maximum by spring of 2025. So there you go. All right, any more super chats before I exit? I don't want to ignore those. Let's see. Oh, that's it. Athena, what kind of dog is Athena? Athena is a fawn pit bull. A fawn pit bull. And I don't know if she's mixed. I actually rescued her about 5 years ago. Anyways, okay. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your Saturday night. And we will see you guys Monday night for a Y-Hat update report. And perhaps even a galactic report. We'll see you guys then. Bye. Okay, how do you end this live? Oh, there it is. End live stream. All right, guys. Bye.